Okay, it's 9 o'clock. Everybody's here. Let's call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have the agenda in front of us, and there also would be an additional item want to be added for the temporary hire of Dylan. Oh gosh, what was his last name? Dylan Felton. Yes, Felton. Thank you, Donna. Mm-hmm. For a 67-day employee to man the door until we're open.
At the temporary wage rate.
Yep. So with that addition, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I would move to approve the agenda.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
But I didn't realize these were action items. I thought they were discussion items.
Well, we had to get some of these action items done before the year ends, so that's why they're added. Motion's been made and seconded. There's no further discussion. We'll proceed with roll call. Donna, you want to do roll call?
Sure. District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right. Action item number 1 is approve claims of human services and licensed center disbursements. Is there a motion to approve those?
We're going to approve the minutes first.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Thanks, Bob. Yep. Motion to approve the minutes. There's just one. I looked at the minutes too, and file number 17, that doesn't quite make sense to me. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look at that.
I started to look at it and I noticed there were a couple typos, but I'm sure the rest of you caught them already too. But yeah.
It's a little confusing about, Bob made the motion to accept the grant and Teresa seconded it, but then the motion didn't fail. It passed. I don't know. And it says it's 3-2 Miller, Johnson, Myrie opposed. It failed in the final vote,
Right.
but it was Johnson, Burns, and Myrie. If that's the way I remember it.
That's right.
Right?
I need time to review them, but if the rest have all reviewed them and corrected the typos, I'm fine.
Okay, well, we need to correct that one too.
I have a question too on the part about Ellers. It's Bruce Kimmel.
Yep. That was his name, I believe.
He did the presentation.
Yep.
Well, I was thinking Bruce Kimmel's the Caledonia guy that.
No, that's Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce Cubicle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cubicle.
like the Green Bay Packer player. That's
Okay. My fault. I looked at that and I thought, gee, we haven't heard from him for a long time. But.
Yeah, no. Well, I'll ask Jeff to correct the spelling and to reword that file number 17. That doesn't quite make sense.
And there were some typos in it.
Yep. Okay. With the corrections made, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we'll proceed with roll call.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
No, because I haven't reviewed them.
And District 5.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. 4-1.
with the corrections. Yep.
With the corrections.
Okay, now we can move to action item number 1, approve claims of and human services and license center disbursements. Is there a motion to
I'll
approve
move to
those?
approve the claims.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Teresa seconds it.
Yep.
If there's no further discussion, we'll proceed with the roll call.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes.
Motion passed to approve the claims.
Okay, action item number 2 is consider approval of the addendum to professional service contract with CETA for additional 8 hours per week. And Tess, you want to kind of go over this? This is something that the personnel committee and you and I come up with as a plan.
The proposal was brought to me to as to whether or not to request to put together an addendum, actually an agreement for CETA to assist us in this process. It would go, the proposal in front of you is for a professional services agreement. It is an addendum to the master agreement. The master agreement is from January 1, 20 through December 31st, 21. So all of the terms and conditions regarding notice to discontinue, etc., go through that master agreement. The proposal is for 8 hours a week, which is less than 14 hours under state statute, as to so that we could actually contract for this if we wish. We could also, this is how we also could have a any other person that we would hire under this 14-hour, less than 14 hours a week. So this is not a union position. We are looking at, when I spoke with Ron of CETA, he wanted a clear scope of duties set forth. So you see in the there we have the attend the Tuesday morning meetings and work sessions, maintain an accurate record of official board proceedings, including preservation of documents, publication of minutes in the official county newspaper as required by statute, draft the agenda and organize that with the department heads, and there are some communications that would have to be drafted as well on behalf of the board, and that any kind of board public notice postings be included as well. This is my understanding is this is not does not is separate from what the auditor's postings, auditor treasurer's postings are, but this is just on behalf of for board notices. And develop and maintain working with the board an annual board calendar. So that's what's in front of you. Ron and I discussed this. We thought it'd be a good idea that we review this matter after 45 days to see if it's still serving the needs of the department, or not the department, my apologies,
The board.
of the board, as well as the being a workable with the from the perspective of, do these estimated percent time actually work out, or is it something quite different? Whether that's an overestimate or an underestimate. So I ran it past Sam for his legal perspective as to whether making sure it contained all the requisite elements, and it's in front of the board for full discussion.
And we, as a personnel committee, came up with this plan to address some of the concerns that was expressed last week when we eliminated the administrator position. And we know that Donna is short on help. She's very busy in her office, so we looked for a way to find somebody who could fill in this position as clerk of the board And as a board, we have the statutory authority to appoint someone, and doing it this way, it looks like a workable solution, and I think it would work well. If there's going to be some kinks here and there, and that's why we got the 45-day notice in there to readjust. But I think this is a good step forward in how to resolve some of the issues and concerns about clerk of the board. Bob?
Couple of questions. First, on this contract with CETA, I couldn't find it in the past back in January. Anyways, I didn't remember that it was a 2-year contract. But is the person that we're talking about, the 8 hours, is that the CETA person that's assigned to the county? I mean, Allison's been here, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's Allison. It's whoever CETA decides to send. Is that?
That's correct. It's a CETA contract, but Allison is the one who works through the county with CETA with Houston County, and it would be the same here. Allison would be the one clerking of the board.
And adding this to their original contract works out to 80% of an annual hours. That's not an issue as far as, I mean, it's the original is, what is it, 1,664 hours it works out to for the contract, plus this 8 hours or 416. So it ends up at a fairly substantial percentage of an annual payroll. That's not an issue.
Well, the 3-day contract that we have with them now is already budgeted in the budget, and we agreed upon that. This is just an additional day.
So is it in the budget? It's in the budget,
The EDA contract is in the budget, yes.
but not the extra day yet.
Right. But that can be absorbed from the administrator's budget.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Greg and Bob are finance people, so.
We talked about that at the finance committee meeting. I mean, we had a $34,000 surplus to end the year, so it'll just cut down on that surplus, this $20,092.80. So
Correct, yep.
it was not in the initial budget.
So we're talking 8 hours a week and for 45-day trial? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, it's a 45-day, we could revisit it in 45 days to readjust here and there if we need to. Go ahead, Tess.
May I provide some clarification? The underlying agreement that this proposal is an addendum to provides for 30-day notice for termination without cause by either side. So please know that. That is all part of this. Secondly, this isn't about contracting with a person. This is about contracting with CETA for 2 different positions, if you will.
Jobs.
One is jobs. One is for the plethora of EDA services that they provide. And certainly it's always been my understanding that their assigned employee, Allison, does work with that team and bringing forth on behalf of the county. And it's quite a detailed EDA contract that we have with them. So this is actually for a different job. And I just want to be real clear about that. It's not to be, at least in my mind, not to be merged together as one contract,
Right.
so to speak, or one position.
Yep.
The duties are distinct and separate.
Right. Jack?
I guess as I'm a big supporter of Allison, having worked with her in EDA. I just think she does an outstanding job, and I think she would. But now I have a question, I guess, that I've thought is, will there be issues potentially arising regarding a non-county employee being involved with the board actions? Anybody have a?
It would be my recommendation that, well, this is just doing 8 hours of clerk work, not advising the board, not.
Right, strictly a clerking of the board, no advisement role at all.
And secondly, when it comes to, and I tossed this around with Sam a little briefly, very briefly, it would be my recommendation and that we, any closed sessions would not be attended by this clerk, which is consistent with our past practice when we had other scribes.
Yep.
Usually the scribe is dismissed from the action.
Right.
So do we need a motion on this or something, or what are you thinking there?
Yep.
An action item.
Well, I'll make a motion that we go with the 8 hours for the 45 days, and then we can look at it again.
Well, a motion is made to approve the services contract with CETA for the 8 additional hours per week. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed with roll call. Donna?
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
Okay, approved.
Okay. Action item number 3 is to assign Cindy Crestwell Hatley as an accredited Minnesota appraiser at the step of B25, step 5, effective January 1st, 2021. And this is from the result of non-reappointment. And at the end of the year, I believe, is when her final day is. And so we have to have get her job title changed. So I don't know, Tess, you want to touch some more on this?
Yes, as you know, commissioners, as a result of your vote to not reappoint, the union filed a grievance, and so that is we're going through that process. However, in the interim, and during that process, if there is not a reassignment to another position, there is a gap in employment, and I highly recommend that you. Whatever your outcome of the grievance process is, we can always change things back around. However, I think it's in the county's best interest as well as the employee's best interest to assure that there's no gap in employment while we go through this process. So, and if at the other end of it, the county prevails throughout its process, then the employee would be stay in the position of AMA B25. But not doing anything,
Leaves a gap.
The employee is effectively out of employment, and we do have a need there and an opening there.
Right. Our non-reappointment was not a dismissal of her. It was just a change of title from assessor to appraiser.
So,
Bob?
question for Tess with regard to that. As the appraiser, where was she at? I mean, I'm assuming this is a drop to a B25.
Yes, I think I'd have to look real quickly, but just give me a moment. It is, the step 5 is the highest we could go. AMA, an accredited Minnesota appraiser at B25, is the highest level appraiser the county has. That's underneath an assessor.
And she would retain her accrued, I don't know what, para or whatever retirement under her assessor role when she was assessor, correct?
The question as to whether that would be paid out at the assessor rate is to be addressed. Whether
Okay, all right.
she retains all of her accruals, her sick leave accrual and her vacation accrual. The board could determine that it would, and I think it's would be appropriate from an HR perspective that the board determine to bifurcate, if you will, the accruals for sick leave and her, if she elects to do a payout as a consequence of this this reassignment, and it'd be paid out, her vacation would be paid out at her former rate as an assessor. Otherwise, any payouts in the future when she goes to B25 would be paid out at her B25 rate rather than the rate she accrued at.
Yep.
I'm just curious, Donna, did you get that? Bifurcate?
Oh, Jack. Okay.
So the question then is, what she's accrued in PERA thus far stays at that level, but her future PERA accruals are going to be dropped.
Correct.
Correct.
That's talking PERA. Tess is talking vacation and sick leave.
I understand that what she's accrued as vacation and sick leave should be accrued at the rate when she was assessor. What she accrues vacation and whatnot drops to this B25. But the PERA stays what she's accrued at the assessor rate stays there. And
right. That would contribute to her high 5, whereas moving to the C5-2 wouldn't be probably high 5.
Right. Then the other question I have is, now with this change, what happens to the assessor position for Houston County? I mean, now we won't have an assessor, and to the best of my knowledge, there's not many of them around, and who would come to the Houston County at the rate that we pay. What's the thoughts on what's going to happen in that regard?
Well, that's something we can have a discussion down the road, because after the first of the year, we have 90 days to appoint an assessor, whether it's in-house or advertise out in the labor force. So that's something that we can address and work on in the future here, but we have 90 days to look at that. This is just an action to change her job description, job title, so there is no gap. At the end of the year, going into next year.
I understand from our discussion, with an understanding that her vacation accruals to date would be paid out at that rate, at her assessor rate.
Yep, that's fine. Yep. Is there a motion to approve this assignment to an accredited Minnesota appraiser at B25 Step 5, effective January 1st, 2021?
I'll make a motion.
Greg made the motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Teresa seconds it. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed with roll call. Donna?
District 1,
No.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
I'm going to vote on the basis of what I felt before, then say no.
okay, and District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes 3-2. Action item number 4, approve abatement request for Tony Becker of Hoka and Michelle Benson of Spring Grove. Has everybody had a chance to look over those abatements?
Mhm.
Is there a motion to approve those abatements?
Based on the reports that we were given with our packets and the explanations, I'll make a motion to approve the abatements.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed with roll call.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, the addition on the action item is the rehire, or is this just a new hire we can call it for the Dylan Stemper or Dylan Felton?
It
67
would
day
be
employee.
a rehire, pardon me, a rehire for 2021.
Well, this is a brand new 67 days, not a continuation until the end of 67 days. This is a start over.
It is effectively a brand new 67-day. It would be a continuation of his type of employment.
Right.
He maxed out on the 67 days during the calendar year of 2021,
Okay.
or of 2020, pardon me.
What is this position for?
He's been manning the door downstairs for the people that people in for appointments and making appointments, I believe. Correct, Donna?
This is,
correct.
yes, this is for Donna, yeah.
Yeah, he's been at the door since the beginning, since we closed the courthouse. He's been manning the door, and he doesn't have school now until January 15th, but after that he will be off every Wednesday to attend he has to be gone for school. So there will not be anybody at the door on Wednesdays beginning the 15th, after the 15th of January.
Are the doors still locked? Are
Correct.
the doors locked?
Yes. Just a little update on the license center gals. We're still waiting on the approval for the background check. I'm expecting it literally any day, but so when that happens, and it may be, I don't know how the pandemic is going to go or whatever, but if we want to keep the door closed, but it's up to the board if they want to continue with the doors closed.
Yeah. We can discuss that in the future.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can get that background check sooner than later.
Exactly.
And this position also answers, kind of does a triage, if you will, as to which office, what forms to use. Is that correct, Donna? And
Yes.
makes appointments. And on Wednesdays, I know Donna and I discussed, I'd have to just find other staff from within to try to take care of Wednesdays.
Is this out of our care money? Our care budget? No. Or is this an added position now?
It's a 67-day temporary position, just like it was last time.
Mm-hmm.
We did get some CARES money to cover it last year. This year, who knows? We might get some more. I don't know. Depends on what this latest $1 trillion stimulus is going to do. So,
But right now we're adding it to the budget.
yes.
Eric, I'm not sure, but this 300 and some thousand that's recently
That's from the state. Yep.
the state, perhaps there's some out of that would qualify.
Yeah, it's a different kind of a grant system, so I don't know exactly. We haven't got the details and all that, so
Right.
we don't know.
Yeah.
I don't believe any of that money would be available for this
Yeah,
position.
I kind
I don't think so.
And
So
actually,
we're
since,
just adding this to our budget, this next position. At this,
right, and because he's a student, it's actually 100 days that he's allowed to work.
oh, wow.
Yes.
if we decided to go that long, correct?
Right. It will depend on when the board decides to open the doors.
Right. It's as needed. It isn't guaranteed that long. It's just as needed.
None of our temporary employees, whether they are a student 100-day or our other 67-day, are guaranteed employment. It's
Yep.
at will per need, as scheduled.
Right.
Yeah, and just for the record too, like say if Dylan comes in and his last appointment is like 3:00 or 3:30, and if I'll just tell him he can just go home for the day. So it's pretty much like Tess said, as needed. However busy it is, I mean he helps guide a lot of people to a lot of departments in the county with the doors locked. So he does a really, really wonderful job down there, keeping everybody in line, basically wearing their mask and so on.
When are we gonna unlock the doors? No.
Well, that's up for discussion too. It all depends on this the numbers and the COVID situation. We need to consult with public health on that. That would be helpful. Talk to John and Heather and the rest of the board and discuss that in the future. I mean, it's been in place for quite a while now, and I know it's not popular with some people, but it is what it is. It happened. It's not only us. So
we didn't advertise for this. We just redid this for him.
Correct. My office did not re-advertise. I know we had discussions about that. And for many of our most of our 67-day employees roll over. So we just requested a roll forward.
So we basically just need to add it to the budget.
If
Yeah.
you determine, if
Oh.
that's your determination, to hire him,
Okay.
which somebody's got to be down there until you open the doors.
It's no different than what we've been doing in the past on 67-day employees. They're added to the budget, so it's not any different.
Except the care money paid for it before.
Right.
Well, we lucked out on that one. Yep.
There's
And I was referring to the federal, the new federal bill. Yep. Go ahead, Bob.
There's a possibility we'll get funding from that through this, but as I read it, there's no governmental monies in there as far as state or local government. So we
Correct.
won't get anything in that regard.
Yep.
But that aside, while we have a continuation of the locked door policy, he does a good job. He directs people well. He has a good presence as far as the door is concerned. All that said, I'll make a motion to approve the continuation or extending the employee status for the 67 or 100-day status as far as Dylan is concerned for 2021.
Motion's been made. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Teresa seconds it. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed with roll call. Donna?
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay. I think we have everything accomplished on the action items and the regular meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Bob made the motion, Jack seconded it. If there's no further discussion, we'll proceed with roll call.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
And motion carried to adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, Teresa,
Yeah.
looks pretty Christmassy there.
Yeah.
Gonna be a different year for Christmas, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we'll continue with the, we'll call the workshop session to order, and I would like to discuss some items such as moving forward for next year on department head meetings, and I'll just throw out my idea. You guys can bring your ideas forward, but what I was thinking myself is during our workshop sessions, we could schedule appointments with department heads and spread it out over the 2 workshop sessions with once a month meetings with the department heads, splitting it up like that, and have it a one-on-one, one department head at a time instead of 2 or 3 at once, and it gets a little confusing and stuff like that. But I think that would be a good way to move forward and have those meetings direct with the department heads. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on that, but
I guess my only problem with that is that we have so many departments that are integral with each other.
correct.
If you have meetings just with individual department heads, you don't get that working together status
Okay.
as far as what's happening. I thought about this too for a while, and I was wondering if we would have a committee or the personnel committee that would just have a bi-weekly or a bi-monthly full department heads meeting just to get the input from the department heads. I think it's a good idea to have the board meet with the department heads too, but I think we need to keep working with the department heads together. And a meeting with the committee wouldn't be a bad thing, I don't think.
Yep. No, that's a good point. I understand what you're saying there, Bob, as far as, sometimes with like the land use stuff and stuff like that, we might want to meet with, a couple of them, 2 or 3 of them. So, and of course, the personnel committee is always open for meetings one-on-one with department heads on employment issues. What's everybody else thinking on that?
I think we should have a complete board meeting. I think that's the best. And everybody's on the same page. That's kind of my thought.
To me, it seems like having individual department meetings is maintaining that silo effect that we have, where there isn't the interaction between them with, issues that arise.
Mm-hmm. Well, we could have a hybrid approach too. I mean, that's why I wanted to have this discussion and what everybody's thoughts and ideas on that. So, Carol, what is your thinking integrated more than one department meet with the board, or kind of like what Bob was saying? Is that what you're thinking, or?
Well, I think all the department heads, whether they could, have the integration or whether not, like human services maybe, isn't interested in the whole land thing, but the whole land cycle is what determines our taxation, and that's where they get their money from, and everyone should be aware of what's happening. I mean, there should be a monthly department head meeting.
No, I'm a firm believer in that too. We should have, a combination with assessor and the auditor, treasurer, the recorder.
I mean, they have the land use, which incorporates those specific departments doing that specific job. We have the finance committee, which incorporates those people. I'm talking about all the department heads, coming together.
Okay.
I would,
And it used to be where two of the commissioners were assigned to attend those, just like they were for the other committee meetings.
Like we had a rotation, so they took turns and like two,
Right.
so they each got a chance to take a turn at going to the department head meetings.
And Teresa usually brought snacks.
I always did.
Uh-huh.
I would rather have all department heads there than individual ones.
Right, because like I said, you have your committees with the related items, but you need all department heads to know what's going on.
Nope, definitely.
I would favor all department heads meeting, and if we're looking at, I'd like to see a commissioner there for sure, if not one, maybe two, but I'd also like to see kind of a what's a coordinator role played by Carol and Tess, because the two most important things for the county as far as our tax money is personnel and finance. And Carol brings a ton of institutional knowledge and finance to the meeting. Tess brings personnel, and she's got a legal background. I think we'd have the bases covered where they could serve as the coordinator role and not make decisions, but make suggestions and address things such as employee departments requesting personnel, spending, etc. Again, the two most important things that impact the taxpayer.
My only concern with that is that that would give the perception that we're creating another position as far as any authority or decision making, and that to me is not what I was striving for. I wanted a more direct connection with the department heads as a board.
I would probably agree
Yep.
with that for, and until there can be some kind of assessment.
Yep.
Yeah. See how, 45 days goes.
Right.
And,
Right.
Well, you got out of that, Carol.
well, I think it's not my intention to be, anything in addition.
Anything more than what you are as the finance director, correct?
Well, we really need to look at the positions we have and the way they interact. So
Correct.
yeah,
Yep. And we're all on the same team here. That's the theme we need to stick by here, is that we're all on the same team providing services to our county. So I don't want to get into the start in right away appointing two people that are kind of be the coordinators. That's not what that was not my vision on what was going to happen.
We used to have each department head take a turn at running the department head meeting with the commissioners.
Yep.
right.
And that would be a good idea. We've done this before. I haven't been experienced with it because I wasn't here when they used to do it this way. But
We'll just go backwards to the old way.
yep, Bob.
Okay. Carol and Tess would be involved with the department head meetings because they are department heads, so they don't have to be in charge of it or anything as far as that's concerned. I don't mind the idea of a monthly department head meeting, and if we allocate different commissioners each month, I mean, two for January, the next 2 February, and since we got 5, we can offset, just keep rotating. But so all the commissioners are involved, we can come back and report to the board, and we can have the department heads, if there's an issue, 1, 2, or whatever, come to the department head, bring the department heads to the county board meeting for discussion.
Yep.
This is to keep all the county board heads working together and on the same page where everybody else is at. So we got to have the monthly meetings.
Well, this is something we could work towards too, and I don't know if we would want to just appoint a couple of commissioners to head this up, or have somebody that's currently on a committee to head this up. Whichever it could be started.
We have our organizational meeting in January where we
Right.
do that because, all new people on everything.
Right. We'll have Dewey coming on, and I've been in contact with Dewey. I talked to him last week and kind of got him up to speed what is happening, and
Wow.
and so he said he had talked to Jeff about a month ago and got a copy of the budget. That was the preliminary budget at the time. So anyway, and I intend to reach out to him again and give him a final update of what's happening so he knows. And also, Donna, you've got a date set up for swearing in.
Correct. January 4th at 9:00 a.m. I've talked to Judge Dorino, and she's willing to come over with Darlene Larson, and they're going to take care of it. So we'll be swearing in the 3 new commissioners and the 3 soil and water
Okay.
members.
So we're going to do that on Monday instead of Tuesday at our regular meeting?
Yes, I guess, I think usually we've done it on a separate day than the board meeting. So it'll be at 9:00 a.m. on Monday.
Yes, their term begins on the first Monday of the year, so it has to be done on the Monday.
Yep.
At the courthouse?
Correct.
At the courthouse.
At the in the commissioner's room. Up the
This
your
is-
regular.
This is in person, not Zoom.
Yeah,
in
we're going to do
person.
it in person. Hmm.
But no coffee and donuts.
No, I'll be sending out letters to all of you too, and the email to the commissioners and the letters to the commissioners that are going to be sworn in.
Okay.
It'll be going out today.
Okay.
Is there anything else, Bob? Is there anything else you want to bring up, or?
Oh, yeah, let's talk.
Okay.
With regard to the monies from the state of Minnesota, the $380 some odd thousand, it's for business. And this is going to be something I got to ask Allison, but I want to know if there's any way we can funnel some of that as far as ag, because that's a business too. When I look at, I don't think we can do anything to help offset the increase in real estate taxes, but I would like to be able to, if they bring in a Schedule F, their farm schedule, and losses as far as that's concerned, if we could figure out some way to address ag as well as business with that money.
Yep.
Is this an application process again where they have to apply for it to get the money? So we have ready for audit?
It depends on how we want to do it.
Oh, so,
I hand to the county board, so
that,
Well, the thing is that there's no final details on this yet, so it's all up in the air. We don't know exactly what the rules are and requirements are, so we might be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. But yes, I agree with Bob. That's something we can look at as far as helping out our ag sector.
and another
But we
question.
got to remember that it's only $367,000, if I'm remember correctly. It's not a lot of money, so.
Right, it's 387,000
Oh,
and
okay, sorry.
is it around 7 can be allocated for administration.
Right.
So we would
There are
audit
a lot of Zooms and different agencies that are, putting together information. I know Allison attended one. I think there's one tomorrow. Greg Davids did have an interesting kind of email too, not to think about, because the businesses that were closed, they're getting the money based on their sales tax reports that shows kind of the income that they've lost and the number of employees through the unemployment office. And, he also suggested to take a look at, other businesses too, like hotels, even though they maybe weren't closed, they certainly have seen, issues regarding their activity for the year. So there'll be a lot coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Right. Yeah, there's a direct payment that they're getting from the state. Some of these restaurants that have closed down and stuff.
Right.
So they can't apply for it? Or
it'll depend on what the county decides.
Oh.
But there have been a lot of questions from those businesses already that Allison has received.
The direct payments from the state are automatic.
Yep. The way I understand it.
The county's in the third tier. There's a part 1, a part 2, and then we're in part 3, the 280 or 386,000. But as I'm reading it, it's kind of up to the discretion of the county board how we do that.
So we could give everybody a bonus.
Every business?
Every county resident or business, you mean, Teresa? Or?
No, every county commissioner and employee.
I like you. Good idea.
I think about farmers, businesses, and rental property owners.
Yep.
Who are not getting their rents.
Yep.
And this is all going to be taxable money just like the other ones. So.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good comment, I think, Bob, because I was thinking about that last night again. They extended the you can't evict, but for landlords, that's their livelihood. So they keep saying, no, you don't have to pay your landlord. Well, what are they supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I know Allison, when I talked to her earlier, she was wondering whether the same form that was used previously for our grants could be used in that. So there are a lot of questions yet as to exactly how this will roll out and what role we'll play and how we'll play it, I guess.
Right. That's a good idea, Bob has. I think that's the 3 main things that keep Houston County moving. So.
Yep.
I think it will be on the agenda for the EDA meeting first Wednesday in January.
Yep. And Allison's been on top of this and looking for direction as far as what the rules are and staying on top of that. So.
Moving on.
Yep. Go ahead, Bob.
We want to ask Tess with regard to the step issue. Do we have if we're going to do an RFP for the steps, do we have a design or something, or do we go to the county highway department and see if they can design a step or something that we do an RFP, we've got a specific design that we want them all to match up to?
Let me take the documents I have and work with Brian and talk to him, and I'll get back to you. That is a excellent idea. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Last thing I want to bring up. I talked to Arnie Beneke. He's one of the Houston County Flyers. They have a vehicle. It's a Saturn station wagon, and they would provide that and get liability through them if the county wanted to be involved with the convenience car. The insurance through them is $442 a year liability. If we had a lease agreement with them or something that they provide the car and we lease it for $442 a year or somehow go through them, I guess I'd have to talk to Sam and Tess as far as how we do that. that they get reimbursed the $442 for the vehicle, and then we'll have to figure out if we can put some kind of a shelter out there that the car can park in, just so it's not under the snow. So a vehicle is there, that we could try it out for a year and see how this, if there's actually as much need for it as I'm typically led to believe.
Yep. We could get a shed.
We've talked about that for a long time, and I think it's a good thing to move forward on.
What about the fuel, Bob?
That's a good question.
Well, it'd have to be one of those things where it's full when it's taken and it gets returned full.
That'd be the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
The user is responsible to gas it up.
Yep.
That would make sense.
And we could get what they call a shed in a box, one of them little tarp sheds, if and put it in there. It wouldn't be a big cost.
So
I think we'd also want to check with MCIT, because just because we're leasing it and they have the insurance doesn't mean that Houston County may not be liable because we are leasing it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what, if Bob discusses this with Sam and MCIT and so on and move forward on it.
That was exactly my thinking on that, is how you structure the lease, because it would become under our CGL and go on to our comprehensive general liability, as well as our schedule of covered assets. So we'd have to take a look at that. So it depends upon what it is we're assuming when we lease it from them.
Right, because we lease the canine, so he's on our insurance.
Mm-hmm.
We pay leases for tool rental.
Mm-hmm.
They're on our
insurance
schedule.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe we're not going to lease the car. Maybe we're going to contract with them to provide a car through their own insurance.
Right. Maybe that's just the thing to do, not call it a lease, but maybe we'd
A contract.
Contracted services?
The other thing too, in the contracted services, we've got to figure out who's responsible for the maintenance of the vehicle, maintenance and repairs. So, we can take a look at all of that for you and come back with what option A or option B would actually entail. And you can decide what might work best.
Okay.
If you would like to, I'd be happy to talk with you after this, so I can get all the particulars, so we can figure out what those options would be and what the liability and cost would be.
Would there be money in the airport budget for an SSS?
What's SSS stand for, Sam?
Small storage shed.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah. That one does. That was a good one.
Well, that they're usually run around $200-300. So,
Well, let me talk with Tess. Let me talk with Sam. Let me talk to Brian. Then I can bring this information back to the next board meeting.
There might be a little money there, Bob, from that Arlen Falk deal. Maybe we could get the shed put up with that, maybe. I don't know. They might have spent it all, too. I don't know.
It's a thought, yeah.
Speaking of sheds, does anyone know where we are with the drop site buildings?
no, I
To the
don't.
best of my knowledge, we're shedless.
We're shedless.
they're in the process of being built.
Okay.
We don't necessarily have an ETA on when they'll be completed.
Probably when it's a foot of snow and colder and I'll get out. But
Most likely. And we just call you up.
yeah, right. Yeah.
That's all I had.
Okay. Anyone else?
I did notice Jeff's thing about the Winona public hearing for the new jail. I don't know if anybody was able to make it or not. I wasn't. But I heard on NPR the next day that they tabled it for now. They're putting it on hold.
Right.
To do so.
Yep.
We might have a couple more years here.
Yeah, they put a pause on it because they're getting some feedback from the public on the necessity to have an incarceration jail.
Yeah.
And
the
so,
cost.
Yep. Well, and more so is the fact that there's a lot of people that don't think they need to put people in jail, and we need to find other ways to deal with that. But and there's a faction about the cost too. But yep.
We're living proof as far as the reduced number of people that are in jail. I mean,
every jail is, yes.
Yeah. Well, I told Marcia that Marcia Ward that we got a good thing going here with Wabasha and Houston here. They really all they need is a holding facility. They don't need a huge jail. And
right.
Told her that a long time ago.
Yep, we did. I think Jack and I went to that meeting with them and made it very clear. You don't need it.
Yep.
At the same time, I understand their want to have autonomy in their own jail.
That's Winona.
That's Winona, but
yeah.
The biggest thing for them is not to overbuild. I think we're living proof of that.
Right. Yeah, it started out to be like 90 some beds, and now they did a revision of 70 something, but yeah, for now it's on pause.
Yep.
Anything else anybody want to bring forward? But I think with something as far as these department head meetings, we'll have to keep working on, and when we have our reorganizational meeting at the beginning of the year, we can nail that down.
Yep.
And I myself will try to reach out to the department heads and get their opinion on how they'd like to see it too. But I'll make it clear it's just me talking. I'm not talking for the whole board. I'm just trying to get a idea of what they're thinking. So
it's quite possible therein lies the problem when we have individual commissioners doing that.
And like I said, it's I'm just looking for input. I'm not looking to make any decisions or promises or anything like that. So unless that doesn't agree with, if other people don't agree with that, I won't do that either. So
yes, go ahead.
Chair.
Yes.
Just may I make a note of reminder that the Personnel Committee will be meeting with the LELS Unit 60, the jailers, at 12 o'clock today, and tomorrow with AFSCME at 10 a.m. And I can't recall when the other one, and on the 31st with LELS deputies at 9:30.
Yep.
I'll be sending, those will be a mixture of in-person and virtual meetings, and I will get the Zoom sent out on all three here in a couple minutes.
Okay, and we're going to try to meet a half an hour ahead, right? The personnel
and today,
committee.
the personnel committee,
Yep.
we should meet a half hour ahead. I'll start the, I'll send you a separate Zoom for that one.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else anybody would like to bring forward? If not, we can Call the meeting adjourned.